Most people think they understand how money works on the internet. Ads, subscriptions, maybe YouTube, maybe Amazon, maybe Netflix. But the deeper I started looking, the more I realized there are entire economies operating online that most people never see. People making thousands of dollars a month from communities you've never heard of, digital products that don't physically exist, private groups, niche marketplaces, entire businesses hidden in plain sight. And once you start noticing them, you start to realize the internet may have created one of the largest invisible economies in human history. Because beneath the internet, most of us use, every day, there's another internet. And that's what I want to talk about today. When most people think about the internet, they think about giant companies like maybe Google, Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. But those companies are really just the highways, is what I would say. The interesting part is everything happening on the side roads. Millions of people are making money online in ways that barely existed 20 years ago, that's for sure. Not working for corporations, not working traditional jobs, not opening physical stores. They're participating in entire economies that most people don't even know exist. And once you see them, you realize the internet isn't just a communication tool anymore. It's becoming a collection of digital countries, each with its own marketplace, its own rules, its own currency, its own economy. Take YouTube, for example. Most people think YouTube creators make money from ads. And yes, some do. But that's often only a small piece of the picture. Behind most every successful channel, an entire ecosystem, editors, thumbnail designers, researchers, sponsors, affiliate partnerships, consultants, course creators, community managers, people clipping videos, people reposting content, people managing social media accounts. One successful channel can quietly support an entire network of people you've never heard of. And that network exists entirely online. No office, no storefront, no physical location, just people connected through the internet. Then you start looking at communities like Discord is a perfect example. Most people think Discord is just a chat app, but some Discord communities operate more like private clubs. Members pay monthly fees. They pay for information, access, networking, education, exclusive content, specialized knowledge. Sometimes those groups revolve around investing, sometimes gaming, sometimes entrepreneurship, sometimes hobbies that sound incredibly niche. Yet people willingly pay every month to be part of them. Not because they're buying a product, because they're buying access. And access has become one of the most valuable products on the internet. Then there are digital products. This is where things get really strange sometimes because for most of human history, if you wanted to sell something, you had to make something physical. A chair, a book, a tool, a product. Now, people sell things that don't physically exist at all. Templates, spreadsheets, design assets, digital artwork, AI prompts, Notion systems, downloads, guides, checklists, digital products that can be sold over and over again. Created once, sold hundreds, thousands of times. which means someone can create a product in their living room and suddenly have customers scattered across the world. That would have sounded completely insane not very long ago. And then you have gaming. This may be one of the strangest economies of all. People buy things that only exist inside virtual worlds: skins, items, currencies, caricatures, cosmetics, collectibles, virtual property. Entire marketplaces have been formed around objects that don't physically exist anywhere. People spend real money to purchase digital things inside digital environments. And some of those markets are worth enormous amounts of money. The line between the digital economy and the physical economy is becoming harder to see every year. Then, there are newsletters, which sounds boring until you realize some newsletters are really becoming multi-million-dollar businesses. People subscribe because information itself has become a product, not newspapers, not television, not giant media companies, individuals. One person with expertise, one person with an audience, one person writing consistently, and suddenly they have a business. The internet has made it possible for individuals to build what once required entire organizations. And maybe that's the biggest shift of all. The internet didn't just create new companies, it created new ways of creating value. In the past, if you wanted to earn a living, there were relatively clear paths. You worked for someone, opened a business, learned a trade maybe, build a career. Today, people are building income streams from things that didn't even exist a decade ago. And many of them are doing it in corners of the internet most people never visit, actually. Which raises an interesting question. Why don't we see these economies? Why do they feel hidden? I think the answer is simple: because they're fragmented. There isn't one internet anymore. There are thousands of smaller worlds, private communities, specialized groups, niche audiences, dedicated ecosystems. Most people only see their corner, and the algorithm reinforces that. It shows us our interests, our communities, our content, our world. Meanwhile, entire economies continue operating right beside us without us ever noticing. And that's why I find this so fascinating, because the internet isn't becoming smaller. It's becoming more layered, more specialized, more fragmented, more complex. Every year, more people are finding ways to earn a living online. More communities are forming. More marketplaces are appearing. More digital products are being created. More value is being exchanged. And most of it happens completely out of sight. The internet isn't just where we spend our time anymore. For millions of people, it's where entire economies exist. And the strange part? We're probably only seeing the beginning. Because in the last 20 years, created invisible economies, right? What happens over the next 20? That's the question. And I think it's going to be a lot stranger than most people can even realize. See you tomorrow, guys.